How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the TNA Body Slam Post Show. Jarbo, my good buddy, as always. How you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing good, man. Chilling as always, but freezing as hell on the east side. How about you?
Yeah, it's pretty cold as well. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little chilly as well tonight. I got a
Yeah,
blanket on.
yeah. Actually, yeah. Actually, I was I was at the gym an hour before. I don't know if you can see me Planet Fitness. Before heading to back in the house and stuff because I figure and this not shot at impact. Usually, like when you kind of like have like a Thursday episode, you're thinking like, well, stacked car, but not really feeling it's. I mean, outside the Indy Danny match, we're gonna get into, but it's just one of those like what's gonna like kind of get the wheels in motion for like the countdown to like the AMC debut. But I thought tonight's episode kind of sparked some of the. Yeah, how you doing, man?
Yeah, no. And people remember we're 35 days away, 5 weeks away from the AMC premiere. You know what I mean? It couldn't come sooner. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I noticed that when don't get me sorry, people. Don't get me wrong. I'm thankful for Access TV and having a network for TNA to be on. But I'm tired of these shows, these commercials for shows no one's watching. You know what I mean? It's gonna be nice to in between TNA shows
yeah,
to see some
yeah.
big show commercials for big shows. You know what I mean? And just a bigger feel to TNA. So
It's also gonna be interesting how folks manage the 9 to 11 I mean, like in the East 9 to 11 time frame. Um, I mean, granted, wrestling has started at 9 o'clock before Monday Night Raw, for example, and stuff. So yeah, should be familiar to some of us who were watching like during the 9 o'clocks back in the day. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how folks handle. But I mean, I honestly I think it is a good slot for TNA because like you'll be starting around a time where certain shows are kind of like ending. Uh, like what like certain 8 o'clock shows. I mean that are ending, and be also when they have to eventually deal with football season and stuff. Not maybe not right now, but like later, like football. Some football games will be ending at least close to 9, or at least at the beginning of 9. So I think it's a good spot.
you know, I was thinking about this too, and this is gonna make me sound very old, but I where I am in the country, I pay for cable, and so I was just thinking about this, in terms of just scrolling through TV, like AMC on my for example, what I pay for cable is channel 63. And so if you're just thinking that numerically, like when you're scrolling, you know what I mean? And then access is all the way at 771. You just think from a scrolling perspective, like if you're just trying to find something to watch, like being on like right there, you know what I mean? AMC, that's such a bigger deal from that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I was just thinking for I think it's just going to bring in a lot more casuals, or it has a potential to be. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just based on it, I think AMC is a more accessible channel, and then like a more viable channel. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't know where it ranks in. You know, I think we talked about that a few weeks ago, but yeah, I just think the reach is going to be there. I think the sky's the limit now. You know what I mean? I think you're going to for the people who discuss ratings and all that shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's going to be a talking point because I think Impact's viewership is definitely going to go up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I don't see
definitely,
how it's going
definitely.
to.
Like they got what's great about like AMC is like it's obviously it's home to like familiar shows, Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, stuff. But also it's also shows like familiar movies and series. And like for let's say for like a casual person, let's say I'm flipping the channel trying to watch I don't know maybe something that kind of like will at least amuse me for at least an hour or two or so, and then oh well, I got this cool movie. oh, here's this movie. Here's this movie I heard about or know about on a certain channel. Huh, let me stick around that. And then of course you got the commercials, and then pops up TNA Impact on AMC this coming Thursday, da 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 and stuff. And then like, huh, that'll kind of stick your attention. Like, oh, wait a second, wrestling's on this channel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I think like that's the great thing about this move, because like AMC will have to like air TNA commercials like on maybe I will say every day, but at least like commonly on on a regular on a regular day, so that casuals kind of focus on. So yeah, is a great thing, because like yeah, they're on a top 30 channel. I think our buddy Mike Gilbert said like a top 30 channel.
I had mentioned in our group chat, I think you had commented, like I was talking to my mom and she had commented, she says to me, isn't one of the wrestling shows you watch? I saw it was going to AMC. She's like, that was big. I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, and like I keep that ad is so good. Just the AMC logo in the ring. And you know what I mean? It again, people are gonna say that like, oh, AMC might be down. I think that that's not the point. I think it's the point that like everyone's trying to snatch up live sports rights. And so for AMC to go out there and want to get TNA, that speaks volumes.
Right. Yeah, okay, continue, brother. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying like that's huge. You know what I mean? Like that's who they're rolling with. So that's big.
Yeah, you're right. In a time where streaming and sports are like very very intense grabbing. Like obviously the Netflix and Warner News and Paramount News and stuff. So yeah, it's a great time. At least TNA has a home, at least it has a stability home for the time being with AMC, and hopefully the goal right here is to expand this partnership once things kicks off January 15th. And I know TNA and the crew, they're confident, they're excited that this is the beginning of many great things. So
yeah,
and it's a bonus too that not only just AMC but also AMC Plus, and that's a very that's a very big known app too. I have it on my my smart TV too over there and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think
the excuses. So yeah, guys, I guess the the excuses are completely done. You guys, TNA's anywhere where it is on a TV or a known app or so. Yeah. Yeah, continue.
And I just say I don't know. There's just something about the idea of TNA being on AMC, and then just when you think of the shows that have been on that network, I don't know. There's just I don't know. It feels special. You know what I mean? I know Spike TV was a big deal, but this feels equally, if not more, I think impressive to me. So I can't wait. Like I said, 35 days. You know what I mean? That's not too long. That's 5 weeks, 5 shows. So
yeah, I was telling my coworker, I think this is like the quickest December month, or at least from my own work life. So I figure like, the quicker December goes, like the faster is January, and then January 15th. So all right.
Real quick, guys, did I see that they everything is taped up until so now? I know that the first show is obviously live. So have they taped everything that we're going to see up till then?
Correct.
Okay, that's interesting. But like obviously, we know some of the Genesis matches already. We know what's going to happen next week. You know what I mean? On one hand, I don't think that's that's a lot of stuff to tape, but I don't think it's going to be. I still think it's going to be good shit what we get. You know what I mean? Because especially if it's anything like what we got tonight.
Yeah.
But before we get into tonight, I think we were talking about the show. I think we got to talk about. I think what is a dream match that's been announced for this Saturday at Saturday night's main event. We're getting Leon Slater and Javon Evans versus AJ Styles and Dragon Lee.
Yeah,
That's huge.
imagine,
You know what I mean?
imagine that.
Yeah. And I've already saw people talking about how this could lead to a match like AJ Styles being on the premiere of AMC, versus Leon Slater. And now that I keep thinking about, my ears are perking up a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I definitely could see that because, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even thinking about who's going to win on Saturday. I'm just so excited. That's a big stage for
Yeah,
Leon.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Everyone should be happy for him. And I
yeah.
don't want to hear people complaining it's not happening in TNA first. Be happy for Leon.
Folks got to understand this Saturday. This Saturday feels like a WrestleMania. I think you'll agree too. This Saturday kind of feels like a WrestleMania vibe. The whole world is watching. Like
Yeah.
This is John Cena's retirement match. The whole world's
Yep.
gonna be watching. So who doesn't want to be on that card? And like what's great about it is like if you look at the card, it's very like uh mix of like young up and comer talent from the NXT side going up against current main roster side. Like look at you got Oba and Cody, Bailey versus Saruka. So Leon Slater for Leon Slater to get a spot, a guy who doesn't even work, a guy who doesn't even work there, a TNA guy getting a spot like that, that's incredible. Like I don't even have to begin or to say like, who wouldn't take that spot. But yeah, I know it's crazy. Like Slammiversary was just like a few months ago. Slater, he won the X Division title. Out comes AJ, and then they have their together, scene, and then here we are. Like they're both an opposing sides in a tag match. And I know Leon has talked about wanting to be in the ring with AJ. So I'm happy for him that hey he sort of gets his he sort of gets his wish. Um, yeah, I do believe I do hope like this is the start of something else. Like I think I think as as what's the word as the dust settles, I guess to say, because it's no secret AJ Styles has mentioned that 2026 might be his last year. It would only be right for him to kind of make one more TNA, or at least one or two, or one or three. It would be right for him to return to TNA.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Definitely.
ironic. Yeah, it's ironic. Someone posted that a few years ago, it was announced he parted ways with TNA, and then I replied saying like folks thought this was the end of TNA. So yeah, here we are. Obviously TNA is still around back on a bigger channel since the Spike dates, and the fact that we're even talking about potential of AJ Styles and a Leon Slater match is bonkers. But yeah, for this Saturday, yeah, this is big. Like, and and Javon Evans too. Got him that. Like, like this is an opportunity for all four guys, even Dragon Lee too. Because again, like I said, this is a WrestleMania vibe feel because you have the GOAT Cena retiring and being a part of this card. Like the whole, I shouldn't begin to even further clarify. Like the whole world is watching. So yeah, Slater's gonna get a lot of eyeballs on. So yeah, I know folks online were kind of, at least a minority, were kind of complaining about like at the expense of like canceling some indie bookings and stuff. And shout out to Brett Lauderdale, GCW promoter. He kind of further clarified, like, hey, like in a way, this can even elevate his stock more, Leon Slater's stock, so that when he does reschedule these indie bookings, his stock raises even higher. Like I'm sure you guys know that. So I'm saying, so like, hey, like sometimes, like, hey, sometimes things happens at the expense of something. So I would have taken the booking. I'm sure you would too, Bert. So yeah.
Yeah, and like I think someone also pointed out how like these indie book shows always talk about cars subject to change. You know what I mean? Like things can always change, happen, and like I don't think anyone's gonna fault Leon for like what you described as this is like a Mania card with like a Mania feel. You know what I mean? I don't know how many. What is there like 18,000 tickets sold for this thing, or like somewhere? What is it like 10,000? I don't know. I mean,
whatever the capacity that building and the Capital One Center thing, yeah, the Capital One Arena. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, the ticket demand is so crazy, like so crazy.
and yes, I'm excited about that match. I'm going to watch that match. But now I'm thinking down the line, and what I wanted to ask you because this is what I immediately thought. How big is the building that they're running for the premiere on AMC? Isn't it a pretty big size building for that live
Yep.
show?
Yep, it's the Curtis Colwell Center. We were there for Genesis. AEW has been there. Ring of Honor's been there. I mean, we did more than Ring of Honor. That's another convo. But yeah, it's a big building. And the thing is, they can also be expanded. Because yeah, it can also be expandable. So yeah.
See, that's what I was getting. So, like, I don't think that this. See, that's what when I immediately heard about this match, and then I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about the premiere. I'm wondering if this has all been kind of in the works in the sense that because if now that this match is going to happen, and I'm thinking, okay, them building towards AJ Styles versus Leon on that premiere, especially if we get it announced right after this show, you know, that's a long time to build toward, and you know, whatever the capacity is to put a lot of seats in that building. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big time match, especially whatever that place expands to. And to get AJ Styles versus Leon on the premiere of AMC, that would be huge. You know what I mean? Especially, obviously, I would think that AJ would put him over. I mean, if that would be the plan, but you know what I mean? Whatever the result is, that would still be a huge match. I could see them packing that building with AJ on the card. You know what I mean? Especially the same thing with Cena. You know what I mean? Because that would for sure be one, unless he was going to do two, AJ's last match in TNA. You know what I mean? That would draw a huge house. You know what I mean?
TNA needs to pull all the stops for this big premiere because, like, as you know, like always, the first impression and stuff. So, they need to not only like who's going to be on the show, like, but the matches, like what kind of matches that are kind of like so big, at least that's gonna put a driving force in demand, especially for casuals too, to kind of like flip onto AMC that night. So yeah, if AJ Styles, if there's a chance, if there's even a chance that WWE will allow AJ to appear at TNA, January 15th is the night to do it. And it would be, and when you think about it, Bert, it will feel like a full circle, so to speak. Like, here's a guy like the franchise coming back into the new era, you could say pretty much passing the torch to a guy who could possibly be a younger franchise and on the come up too. So like it would kind of be like a full a full circle like of passing of the torch. You guys say?
Exactly. And to your point, yeah, like I want TNA to treat this premiere on AMC kind of similar to those special episodes, like A Winter Is Coming, like we just saw with, you know, AEW. Like, and obviously, you know, I watch AEW. They're not drawing like they used to draw, but like, you know, back in the day with their, you know, when they were running those first Grand Slams, you know, when they were at Arthur Ashe, those are big shows. So, you know, for this AMC show, again, I just Googled it. It has a capacity for 8,500 people. The Curtis Colwell Center. You know what I mean? If they're, again, like I said, AJ Styles versus Leon, you know, some added more big stars to that show, you would think they'd be able to pack that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope that we get some more announcements for that, just because again they have 35 days till, and that should be treated as, I know it's on TV, but that should be treated the same as you would treat a pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before we move on to tonight's show, Al, did you have anything else did you want to cover before we move into the show?
Yeah. I mean, Leon he's been having a insane week. Like he was on the deadline. He was on the deadline pay per view. Uh, Before that, he defended the title with AJ Francis. And of course here he is back. Uh, leading all the way to like this big tag match. So yeah, I couldn't be happy for the guy. I know the TNA roster is happy, and like especially for him, and seeing how much buzz this is going to give to TNA for the AMC debut. So yeah, fingers crossed if we get that match. So yeah,
Yeah, I really just because it's just been the season been planted so many times, and I don't know. I just think that if it was ever going to happen, it seems like the path is now, especially since we're getting potentially what I would think is part one of something. Obviously, we're getting this dream match on Saturday night. I expect AJ and Dragon Lee to win, so I would hope that leads to a match or some, you know what I mean? It's got to pay off some way, and AJ coming back to TNA for one more match. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It has to happen, especially for like the people who were there for when he left and knew how kind of like the bad taste that it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have had to leave. So yeah, like you said, full circle.
I mean, when you think about it, it had to happen. Like,
yeah,
it had to happen. AJ wasn't really in the right state. I wouldn't know. TNA definitely wasn't at the right state of mind at the time, and AJ, for a guy who's been busting his ass, he shouldn't have to take less money than he was making prior. So yeah, it just had to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't ask the franchise to take a pay cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could say TNA learned a lot too, within that time. I would hope they did.
Yeah. I again, and obviously I think I pointed out that was people thought that was TNA was done at that time, and look, all the years later, going strong.
That's
about
right.
to start a new chapter on AMC, so been written off too many times. Okay, before we jump into tonight's show, I just want to remind everyone this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. That's lion's mane, which increases which increases focus, memory, neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It's Cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has ratio, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. We all know you're going to need that when you're on those nasty ass gym mats. On top of all that, it's 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay. I think tonight's show was. I think it was, again, you talk about that main event. It was really, sorry, I was going to say, you talk about the main event and then that 6-way. I thought this was very good. You know what I mean? Like, again, it might have been a slower show for some. You know, I don't think it was the greatest, but I thought this was a very, very solid show.
Yeah. Yeah, very solid. A lot of wrestling. Like, and also some deeper storyline. Like, folks, yeah, like, I was gonna say folks can say what they want, but I think TNA's episode was really was really solid with a lot of wrestling story into it. But yeah, especially with the main event, we'll get into it later and stuff. But I feel it seems like once everyone knew the countdown was on, like it was time to like put up or shut up mode. And I guess that's kind of what everyone was on, put up or shut up mode.
Yeah, I echo exactly what you're saying. A lot of wrestling, but and it's funny. This has been kind of the topic of the week. I thought a lot of the matches told stories in the ring, and you can tell stories there. Well, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of
Mm,
getting into that topic. We have too much to talk about, but
yeah,
yeah, no, I thought with a lot of wrestling, but I thought that a lot of the matches were going to get a lot of things were not finished. So I think that a lot of stories were told in that regard. But yeah, this was a very solid show. Okay, we're going to open up with the King's speech, which I think is always entertaining. Again, I don't care how long this reign lasts. The fact that we're getting a Frankie Kazarian world title reign, you know what I mean? For us people who've been with this, watching this company for a while, this man deserves it. You know what I mean? He's been a big part of this company for, you know what I mean? Since
hmm
I've been watching it, probably, obviously before I was been watching longer than me. I know Kazarian was there before then. So, yeah, this guy's been one of the hearts of TNA for a long time. So I think this run is well deserved for him. But I thought this segment was very entertaining. His shirts remind me of something The Rock would wear in the Attitude Era. In the Attitude Era, they look cheap, but they look, you know what I mean. But they look fancy at the same time. I don't, you know what I mean. But this was a very good. This was very fun. What'd you think about this opening segment?
yeah. This was oh, sorry. Yeah, this was yeah, this was a good opening segment. Of course, like you're gonna have the world champion kickoff. Frankie, feel himself bragging that not only is he the champ, but he's gonna be the face of AMC. Mentioned Walter White, a few other TV characters from the channel and stuff. But yeah, I agree. I agree. It's nice that Frankie, finally, winning the belt, and here we are, TNA going back on a bigger channel. Yeah, it kind of feels like a full circle for him too, in particularly. But yeah, this was a good stuff. The El Paso crowd, like I mentioned too, like that was that's a really good turnout that Final Resolution had, and a good turnout too on tonight's Impact. I would said, like, they should do a pay per view someday there, because it's clear they have a good market in the Texas area, especially El Paso.
Yeah, that crowd was hot all night. You know what I mean? Like there were segments where I couldn't hear the people talking in the ring, especially when we're going to get into the Hardys and the Righteous segment. But yeah, the crowd was very, very vocal all night. Yeah, I thought I agree with you. I would hope that they would get a pay per view or a big show at some point, because I definitely think that that is a good market for TNA. Obviously, it proved it at Final Resolution. Obviously, it proved it tonight.
Yeah, and then of course, who'd saved the day, Mike Santana. Coming out of the Paso crowd. That's a good shot. By the way, if you watch it back, like Santana and that sea of the Paso crowd, and then in the distance, in the far, and then Kazarian in the ring, like a good shot. It just shows how packed that arena is. Also, yeah, Santana interrupting Frankie. You know, um, you know, let him know straight up that he's coming back for that title. Once he deals with these NXT Crusaders and stuff. And yeah, we got the match set for the Genesis pay per view, Kazarian and Santana. So that should be good.
Yeah, and like I definitely like how Santana came out. Because there was that whole thing with the work, like where well, not a work, but you know what I mean. Like Santana didn't show up or whatever that shit uh, to the show, like after he lost the title. But like the Santana's still fighting. There was a lot of fight in this promo, and he wants his title back. So yeah, like he said, we're getting it at Genesis. I believe he also announced the cage match as well, Team NXT versus TNA, right?
Yeah,
And that should be very good. Like I believe we saw the cage. So, and this is definitely better than the last cage that we had. I wouldn't even call that a cage. But yeah, Frankie versus Santana Part 2 should be very good, very good. I would be surprised if Santana doesn't win the title. If he doesn't, again, I'm not going to hate, but that'd be very interesting. You know what I mean? Just because I would not know where they would go from there.
Yeah.
Not just with Santana, but just the whole world title picture. But I predict Santana will win. I would think he's going to win.
Yeah, we'll get to a prediction sometime later, but it's I'll just say it's smart on them for him having his title match at the following major pay-per-view. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, next we're gonna get just a promo from NXT, and I'm not gonna be polite. I thought some of these promos were shit. And it wasn't Tyson or Tyreek, because I'm very high on them. I think there's a lot of potential in them. Like, I think that their promos are very solid. But Lexis King, it was terrible. But you know what did surprise me? And you know what, part of me was, because I'm like rooting for the heels a lot now. And I've been that way for a while. But when Stax is talking about, Santino didn't want him to be, like, he's the worst father-in-law, and like he doesn't want him to be his son-in-law, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I like where this is going. You know what I mean? I thought that was very good. I like where this is going. But I thought this whole segment was entertaining. Despite Lexis King, I thought this whole thing was entertaining.
Yeah, it seems like some of these guys are getting more screen time to talk than they were prior in NXT. But that's for another convo. Basically, it's kind of basically kind of hyping up for next week's steel cage match and stuff. And then you mentioned Stax calling out Santino, calling him a worse father-in-law. Boo-hoo, but he joined the club of son-in-laws. Of son-in-laws trying to win their father-in-laws over and stuff. That's just the marriage life for you. But we're gonna talk more about Stacks later too. So, but I agree. I get you're not a Lexis King fan and stuff. I mean he has some potential, at least from a heel character standpoint. But that's about it. I know we have folks online like to criticize, like, this being the NXT invading TNA and stuff, but like, hey, like, sometimes, just because WWE or NXT or whatever kind of less looking at these guys right now or so, that don't mean TNA has to follow suit. I'm just saying, like, there's always something special with everyone. You just gotta untap it. But this is a short, quick segment. To hype up the cage.
I think a lot of the people who are complaining must not watch NXT, because I don't think that they realize that they don't really have anybody right now. That, you know what I mean? Like we talked about last week. Again, I don't think Trek was going to be involved. You know what I mean? They've done that. You know what I mean? I think he's moved on. And it wasn't going to be Oba or Ricky, because they're currently involved in a feud. And Javon, and obviously, is doing stuff with Leon. So really, the men's division is not what it used to be in NXT. So them trying to build some of these guys up, I'm not going to complain. You know what I mean? I think also there's just more of a chances for TNA to go over in these opportunities, if we're being honest. So yeah, I'm not going to really hate, you know what I mean? Just because it's not like the stars that, you would think that they were going to send.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad, you know what I mean? It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. You know what I mean? Don't let the Brooks Jensens sour this. You know what I mean? Like I just said, there's a lot of potential. Dempsey wasn't there. You know what I mean? And like, I think that the Stacks and Santino part is what makes this whole thing compelling. You know what I mean? So that's what's adding juice to it. And again, I thought I thought Tyson and Tyreek are very good. You know what I mean? They just weren't, they haven't been given a chance yet. A lot of these guys haven't been given a shot. So that's not, you know what I mean? I don't know why everyone's going to be even hating on that, hating on people getting opportunities. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, just because sometimes you gotta blame, like they're just not given a chance. That don't mean like they're not good or
Yeah.
da da da. It's just we see how like the way WWE's um like the way WWE has limited on shows and screen time and matches and stuff. So yeah, you can't really say like Tyson Tyreek dropped the ball or Stacks dropped the ball or da da da. I don't know about Lexus Kane, but that's another convo. But like, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, at least TNA is giving them some screen time. Like, and to them, we probably don't know how much important to them is because like imagine like you're in there you're backstage or whatever and like you feel like you haven't really got that much opportunity to show what you can do on the screen
Mhm.
or mic and stuff. So yeah, and yeah, at least like they're they're supposed, yeah, they're the bad guy. For a team who's the bad guys, they're doing a good job. At least talking smack about TNA and like trying to diss the brand. They almost try to set the ring on fire on Friday.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Mm, I
that's some real heel shit right there. I would have jumped over the barricade to prevent that happening. Yeah.
the more that I think about the more that I think about this, I'm like, it's not like us TNA fans are not familiar with factions that might have had some terrible guys. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
guys do remember Wes Briscoe. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this, this isn't that bad. You know what I mean? I think people need to fucking relax. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm sorry to get heated here, but like it's not like these guys are all terrible. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And again, you just mentioned whether they're trying to light the ring on fire. Sachs punched out Santino. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if we get a match between Stacks and Santino, which I'm not going to complain about, just because at least I think that there's build to that. You know what I mean? At least we'd see that coming. You know what I mean? It would make sense.
Yeah.
So I think this has the potential to be better than people think. You know what I mean? I'm here for it. Okay. Next, we're gonna go move into an Angel Warriors promo, and I really like this just because I think it's I think it's great that they're giving Lay. Obviously, she's champion, but they're giving her the ball. You know what I mean? They're like she's cutting a lot of promos now, which I thought this one was really good. I really like that the Angel Warriors are like still a thing. You know what I mean? They're not tension. This isn't WWE where
Yeah.
they're playing seeds of a breakup. I thought this was very, very good. I wait.
Yeah, this yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. My thing froze. Yeah, this was this was yeah, a good yeah, way of kept letting us know that things are still good within the Age of Warriors. Yeah, they did they mention like they're still seeking after the tag titles, despite Laying being the champion.
I don't know if I heard that just because like obviously we after they spoke we did get Tessa. I don't think Tessa's necessarily going to go after the world title, but I don't know if I got really any inclination that they're going to be going after the tag titles. But I would hope that they are, just because that should still be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean we can't just leave Zaya Brookside doing nothing and stuff. So yeah, I would seem like yeah they're still intent on going for the titles, and at least it kind of drags on stuff like because like let's say if another team defeats them in tag action, like that team, whoever gets the pin can claim for a knockouts title match and stuff. So, yeah, in a way, it kind of solves both cases. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, Tessa did seem like she was eyeing the title, and I think that's obviously could be a direction they go. I believe her
Yeah,
and
I'm
Leia
glad.
have already.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Oh, no, no, sorry. I'm glad she brought up yeah, Tesla. She brought up that yeah, her and Lei Yingli did had a match back in March, which was a good match too. So yeah, yeah, Tessa and her crew, the Diamond Collective, I think that's what they're calling themselves. They interrupted, and so yeah, the tag division is yeah, kind of seeing the heating up, which is good too. So she told Lei Yingli the only reason she hasn't gone after the Knockouts title is because she hasn't really set her eyes on it and stuff. Um, but they'll be glad to make an example of the Angel Warriors. And she kind of when she turned on, she said, "Right, Mila." And so it seems like it's gonna be her and Mila going up against the Angel Warriors later. I mean, at least it's, maybe next week or so. But it should be interesting.
And you know what? People can say, and me included, you know what? And I also think that I like how they had, I mean, I like how Tessa said that because I think it's been by design that they haven't had her go after the world title. And I like how they are having her kind of be the leader of this faction. Obviously, you said it's going to be her and Mila, what it sounds like, first the Angel Warriors. And yeah, that's how it should be. And again, people can hate on it, but like right now, with the talent that they have, Tessa's necessary to this division. You know what I mean? She's obviously like the top worker that they have. You know what I mean? Most experienced worker they have. So again, I'm fine with her being in the position to potentially be the tag team champion. And then if they eventually roll with her being world champion, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think it's long enough at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, and even at that point, I don't think she's going after it now. So yeah, no, I thought this was a very this whole thing was very good. I want this feud, so I hope we get it here soon. Okay, next we're gonna get what I thought was a very fun match. Um, it was Heather and M by Elegance with the personal concierge versus Heather and Harley Hudson. I mean, versus Harley Hudson.
Myla Grace, Harley Hudson. Yeah,
I thought this was very fun. These are two teams that they really need to get behind. And I'm glad they're still keeping the Elegance brand a thing, despite Ash not being in the picture full time in ring wise. This was very fun, Isle. These two teams, there's a lot of potential there. Harley and Mila are stars. Like when they were coming out, I was like, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Like, it sucks that they haven't been on TV more regularly, but hopefully that's been put to rest. Like hopefully these are regulars going forward. But what did you think about this match?
yeah. This was a good one for both teams to really stamp their claim in the tag division. Yeah, like you said, yeah, Mila and Harley, they haven't been on Impact for a while and stuff, but I mean, I keep up with Explosion too, but yeah, this is it's it was a good way to kind of like showcase and remind the viewers, how good they are too. So yeah, we should definitely see more of them on Impact more. Um, yeah, the Elegance brand, despite not having Ash with them at times or so, but at least they still seem to be building back some momentum. Mind you, both Heather and them, they just had like knockouts singles title matches of their own, so it's nice to see like they're kind of building their own stock and see like hey if they can do things despite the circumstances, and also while they're searching for the new Mr. Elegance too. So, but yeah, that was also yeah the match was decent. Very clever shenanigans by M. Teasing that she hurt her leg, only for the ref to get distracted, for Heather to take a cheap shot. That's I thought that was pretty clever there too. But yeah, good sequence. I love the sunset flip from Mila. And of course, the personal concierge getting involved as always. Distracted Harley and Mila. Took care of that equation, but then that was enough for M and Heather to capitalize and get the win there.
Yeah, I thought the present spot was very funny. Iceman continues to be like, you know what I mean, just proving why he's a You
Yeah.
know, he's a very big part of this, like what makes this
Oh
whole
yeah.
thing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad Heather and M got the win just because Harley and Mila, technically are new to the audience just because they really haven't been featured that much. So yeah, this was good. I hope they run it back, and the hope they run it back. I hope we see more of this, especially Harley and Miley. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is good. Okay, next we're gonna get. Did we skip a match?
Um,
Oh yeah, we did not go over Matt Cardona versus Lexus King. We skipped that. We skipped
yeah.
the match.
Yeah. Uh,
That
all right.
was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, why don't you start with this one, Al?
Yeah, that was all right. Nothing much to it. Um, yeah, Lexus, yeah, being the crafty heel, of course, yeah. Yeah, Stacks got involved. Roll up pin on Cardona, and then after the match, yeah, they took out Cardona's left arm, and Macklin came to save, and then yeah, yeah, it seems like yeah, due to that, yeah, Cardona's out of the steel cage match next week. But yeah,
You know what? It's I forget. I'm trying to. I think it was our buddy Mike who pointed this out. You know what I mean? It's interesting. You know what I mean? They're making Lexus this vicious heel on TNA. You know what I mean? I think he lost on NXT. Um, but
yeah.
I,
To this LFG winner, I forgot his name.
I think it's Shiloh something.
Yeah.
This is interesting because uh later they announced that Cardona will be out of the cage match. So I don't know if they have announced the replacement, but I'm very interested to see who joins Team TNA now
Oh,
because I think that
they did.
they did.
Well,
Okay, I
yeah.
missed it.
All
Okay,
right. I'll bring it up later.
we'll get into it later. Okay, okay. So next we'll get back to where we left off. We're gonna do a Rich Swann interview, and I thought this was very good because I've been kind of rooting for, even though I liked First Class, I was really rooting for Rich Swann to get back to the Rich Swann of old. I believe he recently talked about like his kind of goals in TNA, what he wants to accomplish, if I remember. But yeah, no, I think he's in the best shape of his life. I think this promo was great, but he talked about how basically, he's done with First Class. I'm interested to see how high they push Rich because I think that he's ready to be back in that main event scene. You know what I mean? There's a lot of matches I want to see. There's a lot of people I want to see Rich get in there with. So this was good, Io.
Yeah, this was the Rich Swan we haven't seen in quite some time, especially in TNA. Like yeah, he mentioned that he's a former X-Division champion, former world champion and stuff. Like and even though like yeah, AJ was a good homie to him, but he noticed how manipulative and egomaniac AJ Francis can be and stuff. So yeah, for a guy like who's won that many titles, like for let a guy just to kind of like talk him down, this and that, like of course Swan was gonna take it, and it's kind of funny too because AJ was doing that to Casey Navarro on the same night Swan came back too, so it's kind of ironic. I guess maybe Navarro was onto something too, but yeah, Swan kind of lets put it known that yeah, he's done with First Class. Um, and then right after, yeah, AJ comes in with a cheap shots, puts his foot on his face, and so kind of lets him know like, hey, you say you're done with First Class. I was First Class. That was a good response there. So seems like things far from over. AJ's not gonna let 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 that sit down. I'm very interested to see this feud between these two.
I'm right there with you, man. And I don't want to really necessarily see kind of them just kind of retool AJ with like do another First Class group. You know what I mean? Like I AJ is a heel. I think this is where they need to start pushing him more because this guy is very, very underrated. And I would say at this point, that even shouldn't even be the case because he's very good at being a heel. You know what I mean? I thought as soon as he came in, yeah, I'm like, I want to see him versus Rich. You know what I mean? He's very good at making you not like him. He's very good at what he does. So yeah, I'll wait for us to get Rich first.
There's no one right now like that can garner better heat, especially as a good villain like AJ. Like people don't like this guy, not just on the internet, but also on the crowd and stuff. So yeah, goes to show he knows what he's doing.
I would say, yeah, him and Ali are like the two top heels, I would say, in TNA. So pushing those guys as much as they can, I would say, is a great start. So yeah, more of AJ, I would say. And yeah, Rich has proven he's a great face. We know AJ's a great heel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. Okay. Next, we're going to get our number one contenders match. I thought this was very fun. You know, TNA knows how to do these multi-man matches.
This was really good.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, you know what I mean? There's a couple people in there like, I don't know. But yeah, no, this was really good. It was Jake Sudley versus Cedric Alexander versus Ryan Nemeth versus Desmond Xavier versus BD, who continues to surprise me. I'm like, okay, maybe he can stick around in TNA. This guy obviously you know what I mean? These guys got there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Versus Jason Hodge for the TNA X Division number one contenders match. Man,
you left one more guy, Ryan Nemeth.
Oh, Ryan. Yeah. How can I forget Ryan Nemeth?
Right.
For the TNA X Division title, number one contenders match. Man, this match was hot. You know what I mean? I think that TNA is very good with matches like this, letting kind of everyone do what they do best. Like, you know, Ryan is very good at being that, you know, Weasley heel. You know what I mean? There were spots where you know what I mean? He was just kind of in there, you know, not really doing nothing, but that's kind of like by design. Desmond looked really good. He looked at home. He keeps looking at home back in TNA. I would say the same thing for Cedric. You know what I mean? I know he's new here, but he looks like he fits in TNA perfectly.
And Jason Hodge too. I know you were going to get to him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No. Continue on because I think
saying,
that
I'm saying, yeah, Jason Hodge was all over this match. Actually, everyone was kind of all over this match. Like this is another defiant example of how great the X Division and what defines it. Like we get matches and styles, opponents, you know, who are, you know, everyone's different, brings something to the table. Maybe Ryan Nemeth too. I don't know. But BD, I agree. Like I think we should keep this guy around because, you know,
yep.
I mean, he has not only he has a good following and stuff, but also, you know, he's actually putting in the work too. So yeah. This was it was great. Having all like I mentioned, all styles. Jake something being the heavy one, the heavy, the veteran experience with Cedric, the young high flying Ariel within Desmond and BDE and Jason Hodge, and then of course you have the cunning tactics of Ryan Nemeth, you know, trying to, you know, do what he can find an advantage. Thankfully, Mara Sade put a stop to that. Yeah, this was kind of like the third time she super kicked him. I feel like we should really get this match over with or whatever between those two. But yeah, a lot of great sequence. I definitely recommend folks to go check this match out. Because there's a lot of wrestling bangers. Dynamite just had Fletcher and Speedball, but this one's another one to recommend to check out. But Cedric hits the lumbar check on Jason Hodge and secures the X Division title shot.
Yeah, I thought this was just like classic. Like, this is just really, really good. Like, this is the kind of matches TNA is known for kind of putting on.
Sorry, lumbar check on BD. My bad. BD.
Yeah. this is the kind of matches, and you know what, Cedric winning I like just because I'm glad that they're rolling. Two reasons: I'm glad that they're running back Cedric versus Leon, but also I'm hoping that this means that Cedric is sticking around. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, this is just kind of like what you're kind of used to. Like if if you're a fan of the X Division, you know what I mean. It's kind of what the kind of matches that you're going to see. Yeah, everyone shined. You know what I mean. And just to follow up what you were saying about Hotch, I don't know. I think that they're really starting to get behind Order 4 and those guys. You know what I mean. They're really like letting. You know what I mean? They're really letting Hotch go out there, Skylar as well, and just kind of show who they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Hotch is
Yeah,
real.
John was on commentary. Jason doing a lot of wrestling over. It was great of Order 4. Yeah, everyone's getting to shine.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more Agent Zero now, who is a beast. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, their Order 4 is really kind of like coming into their own, and I think that they're really getting behind them, which they should have been all along. But yeah, this was a very good match. I so it's gonna be Cedric and Leon at Genesis, correct?
They didn't announce it. Well, I mean, they didn't announce when it was going to happen. They just said future X Division title show.
Okay, next we're gonna get into a system segment, and they're just talking about how they're looking for a new member, and this is interesting just because I'm a little shocked. The system are still kind of going, but also I do think this is potential for them to. I want to see who gets this spot. You know what I mean? I would like to see, unless this is all kind of like a ruse. You know what I mean? But like I do want to see who gets this spot. But I thought this was good, Io. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, this was another good good segment between the system members. Hyping up for the tag match with Sinner and Saints, as well as preparing, like trying to find new recruits because they can mention JDC's retirement, and they're trying to find like replacements or replacement or replacements or so. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm interested to see if like who gets this spot, especially if it's all like if that's what really is leading to somebody taking JDC does retire and someone gets that spot. I think it'd be really cool if it went to someone that could use the rub. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very interested in this one. This has me intrigued. Okay, next we're just gonna we go into a backstage
Oh wait, yeah.
segment.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. After that, yeah, JDC kind of talked with Eddie a bit, and then they announced that it will be JDC and Eddie in his final match at Genesis.
Which again, if this is really the last match for JDC, wow. But I
Yeah.
saw kind of some people kind of saying maybe this is a work. I, I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe this could be leading to something.
Nah.
JDC heel turn. I
Why
don't
would
know.
why would it even be a work? Like
Yeah,
they literally gave you all the reasons. Like his
yeah,
he just got married, and you know obviously he wants to start a new chapter and stuff and leave wrestling behind. That's it.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it seems like I believe what he's saying. You know what I mean? So like I
Yeah.
don't. It's
Yeah,
I would like to.
I get what you mean. Yeah, it's some people they just it's hard for them to separate
Yeah.
work and what's real. So
Next, we get a Frankie Singer. He's kind of confronting, saying, typical heel shit. He doesn't want to defend the title. Uh, this whole thing was fun. You know what I mean? Like, of course he doesn't want to defend the title. You know what I mean? And I just
yeah,
thought Santino's interaction with him was very funny. But what do you think about this, Io?
just same old Frankie, being an ass and complaining and stuff. Like I guess being world champion don't really change much out of you, I guess. But yeah, Santino, wasn't what they weren't ain't gonna hear on that, and then lets Frankie know that in 3 weeks he's gonna defend the world title against the winner of a 20-man battle royal, I believe.
Yes.
So yeah, that should be interesting. Seems like yeah, before Frankie deals with Santana, he has to deal with yeah, some other hurdles.
Yeah, which again, I like how we're getting,
Oh,
the friends.
it makes sense. Sorry, it makes fair too because Santana he's dealing with the NXT guys, so Frankie's gotta have his schedule busy. So yeah,
Yeah, I like how they're giving, we're going to have Kazarian get some defenses before I would think he's going to drop the title to Santana at Genesis. But you know what I mean? Like, again, I want it, I know it's short, but I like the Kazarian. They're doing as much as they can to give him a good run. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. I wonder who's going to win that battle royale, especially who else is going to be in that. I think that should be really fun. Okay. Next, we're going to move into what I thought. Oh, what were you saying?
Sorry. So yeah, after that, yeah, the NXT guys came and interrupted Santino. Um, they were demanding, because of yeah Cardona not being able to compete next week. They demanded that the match be a handicap steel cage match, and yeah, Stacks, running his mouth again, and then of course that led to Ariana slapping Stacks. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't talk about her dad. Don't talk about her dad. I guess. So yeah, that was a
I don't know. I know that happened. Okay. I still think we might see a turn, but okay. I'm a piece for now. Okay. As for okay, next we're gonna move on what I thought was a very surprising match. It was Brian Myers versus Eddie Edwards versus Sinner and Saint. God damn. This is the Sinner and Saint I've been waiting for.
yeah. This
But
was great.
yeah. Again, they're in there with two pros, like Eddie and Brian know how to wrestle a match. You know what I mean? They know what they're doing. They know how to make two guys look good. They know how to go in there and
Mm-hmm.
they can have a good match with anybody. But yeah, no, this is the Sitter and Sit I've been wanting. I thought that they really, really went out there and proved why I think TNA brought them in. You know what I mean? Like I said, I thought there are a couple
Yeah,
of those guys. I think their booking on the Indies hasn't the TNA hasn't been able to find the success that they had on the Indies that they saw in the Indies. So hopefully this is the start in the right direction for them. But that this was fucking really good.
yeah. Shout out to Santana too. Putting Sinner saying over. This is a tag team. Yeah, folks are really keeping eyes on, especially coming into the new era. Um, yeah, like you said, this was a very good one. Going up against former tag team champions and Myers and Eddie. It was yeah. Even in defeat, they kind of learned something. It kind of ups their game up a bit more. Like every match that we see them now and stuff. So yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, the tag division, bro. When you look at it, the tag division really starting to heat back up. When you think about it, like Sinner Saint, the System, the Rascals, Scotch and S- um, Scotch and I'm sorry, Skylar Hodge. Yeah, Skylar Hodge. Uh,
Yeah,
the Nemitz, yeah, the Hardys, and of course the Righteous too. So yeah, things are really heating up the division. But yeah, this was good showcase for Sinner Saint.
yeah. I completely agree with you. I hope this is the start of them finally putting, getting behind these two guys. You know what I mean? Because I think that they could be part of the future of this tag division. And like you said, it's a lot. It's very heating up. You know what I mean? It's stacked across the board. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? There's
yeah.
things everywhere. So yeah, I really like this. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, hopefully we see more Sinner and Saint. Okay. Next, we're going to move into a Hardy segment, and goddamn, that Hardy's pop was wow. They continue to be the rock stars of this company. You know what I mean?
The rock stars. Yeah,
Yeah, everywhere they go, it just seems like the crowds are so loud for them. You know what I mean?
hmm
They come out and they are barely into their promo, and we get the Righteous coming out. And like I said, this is when you could really barely hear. Like they were barely able to get any words at the beginning. You know what I mean? The crowd was just like letting them have it. It wasn't the as bad as last time. But I thought Vincent and Dutch cut very good promos. And if we're obviously going towards Righteous versus the Hardys, I have no doubt that that'll be very good. So I thought this was a very, very good segment.
Yeah. Folks were wondering why didn't these two teams interact at final resolution? Well, I think to kind of like give a little teaser sense for at least for obviously into tonight. Yeah, the Hardys, yeah, they were cutting their promo about hyping up the steel cage match next week, and then yeah, right, out comes Vincent and Dutch. Um, yeah, I mentioned this is very interesting because when they come out, you can sense like this is a very there's something about the Righteous and especially Vincent, who I'm gonna talk about in a few. Like they have like a sense of a presence, like you like a presence, like, and you don't know how to like kind of put it into like, especially the way they walk, the music and the snapping. It reminds you of obviously of the late great Bray Wyatt too. Like he has a presence, and that you just gotta pay attention to. And I always kind of compare Vincent to Bray Wyatt a little bit because because of the mannerisms, the promos, and I think you agree too, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of the similar traits. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do notice, especially when you point it out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
uh, I think that this is going to produce some really good shit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. They were so yeah. Basically, they were kind of like yeah, giving the Hardys their praises and stuff, and like we're not here to fight you guys. We're here to I forgot I forgot what he said, but like, but yeah, basically, they said that like they can trust him, like
Yeah,
they can trust him and stuff, and yeah, Vincent cutting his own promo. So yeah, it seems like we're gonna get like a slow build or so to at least the eventful match later and stuff. So yeah, in the meantime, should be interesting. Where's this goes and stuff, but yeah, yeah, I think Matt and Jeff were kind of like kind of were speechless and confused too. They didn't know what to make of this, this new team, But I think they're up for it, obviously, because they're legends. So.
yeah. This is obviously a slow build. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not going to get into it, but quite a coincidence that's comes after that Hardy's tweet. You know what I mean? So this, I think, definitely is what he's trying to tell us. Trying to tell a story here. I'm definitely looking forward to this one though, just because not so much Vincent, but I'm very high on Dutch. You know what I mean? Uh, and the Righteous are a good tag team. So, and I think that they are a good fit for TNA. So, and like you had mentioned before, this division's getting loaded. So, yeah, I can't wait. I'm glad they're not doing it next week. You know what I mean? We're not getting it. We're not rushing this. So slow burn. This is gonna be good. Okay. Next, we're gonna get into a segment where we just out. Okay, so like we said, we get Santino names his. He named his replacement. Try to find it here.
You want me to say?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, due to Cardona not competing, and of course the disrespect that he's been getting, and of course after what happened Friday, joining Team TNA, the Director of Authority himself, Santino Marella. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Santino can't.
I'm
Yeah,
glad I missed
Santino needs to teach this dude Stacks. About needs to teach this dude Stacks about respect and stuff. So yeah. Yeah, once again, put an Ariana in the middle because, like, yeah, her father is gonna be facing her fiance in the cage. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was. I figured, yeah, it was only a matter of time for Santino kind of after that punch, from Friday. It was only a matter of time Santino was gonna, not take that lying down and stuff. So, yeah,
Look, and I'm not. I know what you guys are thinking. I know I just said that I was hoping that we get a Stacks and Santino match. I wasn't hoping that Santino was going to be involved in the cage match. Those are two different things. This is a little disappointing. I thought they would have went with somebody else, but I still think this match is obviously going to be really, really, really good. So, but yeah, no, that's interesting, but it makes sense. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely think that that's where we're gonna get that turnout. Because you know, what I mean, I definitely think there's potential for Ariana to cost her dad that match.
yeah,
I would. That's where I would go. You know what I mean? Because I think that would generate a lot of heat. But that's just me.
yeah. It seems, yeah, it seems like out of this whole NXT TNA thing, the main one of the key things is this feud between Santino and Stacks and Arya in the middle. So yeah, yeah, should be interesting.
Yes, and you know what I mean. Oh, above all else,
And
it should be interesting.
plus it gives a reason. Sorry, plus it gives a reason for Santino to appear on NXT because he's been doing that too.
And honestly, let's be real too. Like Santino is probably going to be the ring general of this. I mean, whenever he's in there with Stacks, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, this is fine. I think it's going to be good. And obviously, Santino getting involved, I think all roads are relating to this anyway. So
yeah,
I shouldn't complain.
yeah. Next week should be fun. Yeah, I mean it's
Yes.
a steel cage match on a wrestling night. It's always gonna be fun. So I can't wait.
Oh, and yes. So speaking of next week, we're getting Angel Warriors versus Milo Moore and Tessa Blanchard, which should be very good. We're going to get the 20-man battle royale, which for the number one contender of the TNA World Title, which I'm looking forward to, just because I think that's an interesting spot. Because you know what I mean. Who are they going to go with? You know what I mean. Obviously, it's going to be a face. Who you know what I mean. I would like to. There's potential there to create a star in the sense. You know what I mean. Let's give somebody the rub. We're gonna get a concert with Elijah, which should be very, you know what I mean. I would assume we're gonna get some interference by Ali. You know what I mean. We haven't seen Elijah since he rode off with Ali at Final Resolution. Then we're going to have Mike Santana, the Hardy, Steve Macklin, and Santino Morello versus Stacks, Lexus King, Brooks Jensen, Tyson Tyreek, in a steel cage. Man, the return of the steel cage on TV, that should be fucking amazing.
Yeah, El Paso should be blessed. Yeah, you guys are you guys are getting a lot. You guys are eating with these loaded stuff you guys are getting. Yeah,
Yeah, this was a good decision to do the stop in El Paso. These crowds have been
yeah,
really, really jam
yeah,
packed. So
yeah.
okay, next we're going to move into the main event. I
Yes.
honestly think this is going to be real quick out before I want you to start. I think this is going to be should be up there for one of TNA's matches of the year. This was tremendous. What bio you start that we had it was Universe Indy Hartwell in a dog collar match. Jesus Christ, this match.
I think this blew. I think this. I think I could say for everyone. This kind of blew all expectations. Like we knew it was gonna be good, but I didn't think it was gonna be that level of violence and good. Like, and I mentioned this earlier before we started. I think both women needed each other, especially the way things are in the pecking order division. Danny, coming off a Spitfire and stuff, and the heel turn. Now, like she has a new edge, and especially with this feud with Indy, and especially this match, like kind of really elevated her stock. Like, well, I'll get into the blood later and stuff, but like this kind of elevated her stock for not for Indy. Um, coming off of losing the knockouts title match, Bound for Glory. Needed to kind of like reset things. And continue on this feud with Danny. Kind of like help put both women on tracks. Yeah, basically, both women needed each other, and like this, yeah, this was absolutely insane. Yeah, absolutely insane. As you see, I'm looking right now. I'm looking at the shots. Yeah, this is yeah. Danny covered in blood too and stuff. And it's funny. Yeah, and it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Earlier in the year, there was a report saying that yeah, TNA was done with blood and da da da. Like, oh, they're coming WWE light and blah 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 and stuff. Well, you guys can you guys can put that shit to bed because here we are with blood. Here we are with blood again. But it was never going away. Yeah, it was just only for when it matters, and like, especially for a match like this. This is what I call. But yeah. Happy Danny got the win. A lot of good showing. Gotta give credit to Indy too. Yeah, this I mentioned that turning point with the street fight was her best match. This one you can add this one too. For Indy. So yeah, these two have good chemistry, and yeah, this boosts up Danny's stock too. This definitely makes her a top contender going into 2026. Our buddy Draven mentioned like yeah, give her everything in 2026, and I agree. But yeah, this was a very it's always nice. It's always nice when the knockouts main event an impact, and these two took it out the park. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought there were so many like bright spots in this match, just whether it was the clever uses of the chain, like Indy wrapping around the pole and yanking Indy toward it, hit her in the back. Um, yeah, the chain through the ropes and bringing her down through it. You know what I mean? Uh, I thought this was Danny needed this. Now it's kind of like 1-1 just in these like last two matches. I like the feud they've got brewing between these two. Um, you would think that Danny would be in contention now, but that doesn't mean that Indy is far from it. Just in terms of they are still kind of keeping her close, and it's matches like this that are going a long way to kind of get she's getting better. You know what I mean? Again, she can't do matches like this all the time, but she's definitely proving that she's very good in these matches. She reminds me her matches with her and Indy's matches remind me a little bit of Taryn Terrell and Gail's matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Taryn Terrell really shined in those hardcore matches, and Gail is doing that as well. You know what I mean? Indy's doing that as well. So those two remind me of that. There's a parallel there. But this was a great match. What a main event. And yeah, that image of Danny, that's like a magazine shot right there.
yeah,
That's a great picture.
yeah. They really went balls to the wall here, like using the chain to effects um yeah, using the chains to effects, wrapping around the necks, using the ropes, and also like some spots, the spine buster and power bombs and stuff. These two, yeah, they really put on a brawl. And it was good. It was good. I think, yeah. I mean, because obviously this match favors Indy. I mean, sorry, this match favors Danny because she's done a lot of street fights on the Indies in the UK and stuff. So yeah, it was a challenge for Indy kind of step up her game too because she's not really known for hardcore matches and stuff. So yeah, it was always nice. Well, like that's the great thing about wrestling too. But like when you have two different people, two different styles, and then they put some magic and then come up with something like this. It's always great.
Yeah, this show overall was just like a great mix of what makes TNA great, and just in terms of, like you said, no one really wrestles the same. You know what I mean? Like every match did feel different tonight, and that's always refreshing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, this wasn't a great show by stretch, but again, I'm not calling it a bad show. This was a very, very solid show. It was an easy
Very
watch.
top to bottom. Like I encourage everyone to check out this episode. Like very top to bottom. Good episode.
Yeah, flows. It all TNA does one thing well. always every week to week, and the show flows. It's paced really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and this was no different.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, we're gonna wrap up here. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Before we get out of here, Al, did you have any final thoughts? Anything?
Next week's big must see. I'll say that. If you thought tonight was great too. Get a load of next week. Yeah,
It's
and yeah,
stacked.
yeah. We're on a serious countdown to the AMC debut, so I can't wait. But yeah,
And I don't mean
steel cage match could be good.
yeah, I don't mean stacks. I mean stacked. Even though he will be there. And yes, 35 days. Again, 35 days. We need the countdown. You know what I mean? It's just like when they kept, when Jericho was coming back in the day. You know what I mean? Countdown to the millennium. Countdown to AMC.
Yeah.
I want to thank. Yeah, Matthew says I agree. Let's go, Cavs. Yeah, I'm rooting for big Cavs fan. I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to always thank Iowa's joining for always being my co-host as well. I want to thank everyone. Yeah, make sure I want to remind everyone to make sure you guys like and subscribe this video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Body Slam so you guys get notified whenever we go live or whenever the many people at Body Slam go live. And with that being said, we'll see you next week and have a good night.
Peace.